Hey fairies! So today I'm going to be talking about loneliness and being where you are. And basically, I'm just going to start out by saying my loneliness has gotten to the point where it's starting to become a superpower. And I know that if you feel lonely yourself, it's probably pretty difficult to ever imagine that being kind of like something that you're using to enhance your perspective. And I know I probably look a mess, but my life is hard. And I'm not going to pretend it's any other way. But as long as I take the steps to kind of show myself that I'm doing everything I can and you know, kind of like trying to get help if I can, and trying to do this if I blah 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 blah, trying to do all these things if I can, and if it doesn't work out, then that's fine, and I'm on to the next thing, because I'm not exactly happy where I am, so that is really important, to be honest, if you're not happy. But if something doesn't work out for me and I'm trying to like get help from somebody, or I'm trying to do this or get a job or whatever, I have a job, but if I'm trying to, if you're applying places and you're trying to get in and it doesn't work out, whatever. If anything doesn't work out for you, it's okay, and it's probably not meant to be anyway. And if you don't get it, then there's a good chance it would have made your life harder anyway. Honestly. So, I'm really just trying to sit with being both okay and being not okay as well. Because I don't really find myself being fully immersed in either. I'm genuinely at a spot right now where I'm just not happy, but I'm not sad all the time. And at the same time, I'm sad and I'm happy. So, I'm neither, but I'm everything. And it's showing me how much time I really have, and it's showing me how much space you're truly capable of giving yourself if you're willing to be patient with yourself. And that patience is the gift, because it really shows you who is actually genuinely here for you and who is willing to go against you because they're impatient, and who is, willing to kind of maybe meet you halfway sometimes, or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, it has shown me so much about who needs to be in my life, because up to this point, I definitely have not been perfect to people. I definitely have not always been a good friend. There are people in my life that, I just fell out with, and I wanted to go back and apologize and do this and do that. But as I said, if things don't work out, then it's just on to the next thing. And if I mess up horribly, that's a different story. But if it's just like a casual fallout, then whatever. So it's kind of hard to sit with being myself, and it's really hard to be okay with how I feel, and it's hard to be okay with who I am and what I've been through, and just everything in general as a whole, because overall, these physical bodies are not necessarily who we are. So we're kind of accepting this whole life that isn't actually in correlation to what we are as a whole. So sometimes when I wake up, I'm looking around and I'm realizing how imperfect everything is, and then I realize how perfect that is. um because I get really upset that I'm not where I want to be, and I get really upset that I don't have the people around me that I would like to have around me. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I'm in the chapter of my life right now where I am kind of, in a way, pushing myself to learn how to be okay with only having myself. Because in the past, I only had myself, and I just accepted it, and it was a survival tactic. But I've always known I wanted to get to the point where I could be with myself and be okay with it and be happy and still love myself and not take it out on myself that I'm alone. Because I've learned the hard way that being alone 9 times out of 10 usually means that the people that you either don't want to spend your life with, or who left your life years ago or recently, whatever it may be, it's a blessing. And it's really showing me that I'm so grateful for myself, and it's really showing me that, when it really comes down to it, and there truly is nobody else in my life, then I still have myself. And I've been in that situation where it was rock bottom, and it really was like life or death type thing. And when in my heart I felt like I had to make a decision to make a phone call or like ask for help or whatever it may be, because I knew I couldn't do it, then I did that. So now I'm at the point where I've asked for help. I've made that phone call. I've told myself, I've been honest with myself, and I told myself if I couldn't do something. So now I'm at the point where I'm kind of reaping the rewards from that, and I'm reaping the truth and kind of a higher perspective, because, well, nobody wants to be alone. Nobody really takes the time to be alone. It's really important to be able to do that, because it's lonely. I mean, it just is. Life is lonely. And it doesn't have to be that way. But when you lose so many people to their ego, and you lose so many people to their pride and their job and their life and, their demons, you have to know that you didn't lose yourself to that. And you have to know that you were kind to yourself, and you were kind to your body when nobody else was. Because, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek, right? I'm gonna future sneak peek. Okay, you have everything you ever wanted. And everything that you ever asked for, all the things you manifested, your dream job, your dream life and house and husband, wife, whatever, all the kids you wanted. But when you were in the darkness, you couldn't sit with yourself, and you didn't have yourself through the worst, and you looked to an external source to validate who you were. So now that you have all these dream things, you still don't know how to sit with yourself. And you still don't know how to be happy with yourself, and you don't know how to be appreciative of the dream things you have, and of your dream husband, and of your dream kids, because while those things are beautiful, and while family is beautiful, if you are not your own family, then you're never gonna find what you're looking for in other people, and you're never gonna find family in other people. And I'm kind of stuck in this zone right now of feeling like I have nobody, and being so close to myself. And not because I have to. It's not because, like, I'm afraid, and it's not because I'm surviving. Because I've been afraid and I have survived. And I still had myself regardless. But now that I'm kind of like in a bit of a better spot than I used to be, I still have myself. And like, it's really hard sometimes to sometimes the hardest part about kind of attracting your soulmate, and attracting your twin flame, and attracting your dream life is the fact that you feel like nothing is gonna match your energy, because you just feel so great. And that's good. I don't think, there's arrogance and there is confidence, and those are two totally different things. So if you really feel like nobody's ever gonna match me because I'm perfect, then that's different. But if you're really struggling to accept the fact that there is somebody out there like you that will mirror you, then maybe you've kind of surpassed sitting with yourself, and now you have to sit with the idea of being able to sit with somebody else. And that can be even harder than sitting with yourself. When you have gone so many years sitting with yourself, it is so hard to imagine being around people that can actually reciprocate you again. And when you think about it, and you actually try to kind of envision the idea of that dream life, and that dream family, and the cars, and this and that, it's really hard, because, oh, well, I've always been happy by myself, and I've always had what I needed within myself, so I'm not really concerned about, like, the external things and external people. But at the same time, your soul is kind of craving that, so it's really hard to find that balance. Because personally, I've become kind of like a professional at being myself, and I've become a professional at kind of experiencing myself and learning who I am. So the idea of kind of learning somebody else and being a professional, like, relationship builder within my own relationships, and basically just kind of, what I'm trying to say is, like, really aligning with exactly where you're meant to be. And the idea of that may petrify you, because you've been so good at aligning with who you are, and you've been so good at kind of matching the frequency of exactly who you're meant to be. So now that you have to kind of branch out from that, it's so hard to even think of, like, the idea of being happy outside of yourself. Really. It truly, because I can't, like, I can literally imagine anything for myself. I can imagine what I want out of myself. I can imagine, like, the reaction I want from myself. I can imagine how I want to treat others and treat myself. But when it comes to the idea of how somebody else is going to treat me, and how, things are going to make me feel, and how I want my future to look, I'm really struggling with that, because I draw a blank. Like, I really have writer's block with my own life right now, because truly we do write our own stories. And if you're at the point where you're stuck in the middle of the book, establishing, who the characters are and where they live and how they're treated, then it's really hard to imagine the ending of the book, because it's so easy to get kind of consumed with, you know, drawing the idea of what a life could be. And it's like, it's such a beautiful thing. It really is. Because for me, like, I'm so immersed in kind of creating who I am that now I don't like, I forgot that I'm even like in the avatar phase. Like, I'm making my sim and I forgot to press play. And I'm just like in this title screen. I've been in this title screen for like 6 years straight, making my sim. So now that my sim is totally, up to date, and, I feel like my sim is educated and well rounded and balanced and beautiful and loving and so many things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a life to live. Like, I still should, like, use this sim to, like, experience a life. That's crazy. That's wild. Because you truly get so caught up in, like, creating that beauty that you forget there's more beauty. And that's perfect. That is perfection. And I get that life is imperfect and can be very, very scary and very hard and very this and that. But when you're kind of stuck in, okay, think of it like this, right? And I've used this analogy before. So say that or you live a good majority of your life, and you're facing a wall, right? And you're eating, and you're sleeping, and you're staring at this wall. So then one day, like, you hear something behind you, and you look behind you, and you see, like, trees, and you see windows, and you see these trees outside the windows, and you see, like, these people behind you, and, like, this carpet, and, like, a door, and, like, so many other things. And it's so hard to conceptualize all at once that there's so many other parts of your life that you're not experiencing, because you're so comfortable within yourself. So the idea of being comfortable anywhere else is taboo, and it's hard to conceptualize. So when you can turn around and you can be comfortable within yourself, that's the key. Because I'm telling you, you're not gonna always be comfortable when you're turned around, right? When you're not facing the wall anymore and you actually look behind you, things are gonna get uncomfortable sometimes, and people are gonna do unpredictable things. But when you're comfortable within yourself and you know that you still have yourself regardless, that's what makes life a little bit easier. um, and I think part of me took so long trying to establish who I was as a person, because I was, like, so terrified of the idea of losing myself to more trauma and losing myself to more pain and more darkness, more loss. But when you are aware instantly from the day that you're self-aware, you can't go backwards. You can't just be unself-aware. When you look around you and you feel your body, and you feel your mind, and you feel your soul, you can't unfeel those things. When you feel your life, you're not going to unfeel your life. So, just be aware of that part, because that is super important, and that is one of the things that is most petrifying, because you can be so scared of how people are going to treat you for glowing, and you can be so afraid of how they're going to act, and the way that they're going to receive you, and the way that the world is going to treat you, and all of these things. Or you can realize that even in the darkest times, you still took care of you. And even if you didn't work out, even if you didn't do yoga, even if you didn't eat right, you still had you. You still were kind to yourself. And even if you didn't necessarily talk to yourself so positively, you were still aware that you're valid, right? You were still aware that you're a human being, and you were still aware that there's more, and you probably deserve better. And if you're aware of better, whatever situation you're in right now, if you're aware of something better, there's a really good chance that you're seeing that because that's for you. So when you're in a situation and you're not happy in that situation, it's because it's not for you. So when you slowly kind of develop from that situation, and you raise your perspective, and you become a different entity altogether, or just kind of add on to the entity that you already are, then you start to realize that there's not only more, but there's more for you. Because it is so easy to get comfortable, and it is so easy to get comfortable with the idea that we have to be comfortable where we are because there's just nothing else for us. And it's not true, because we are whatever we say we are. And if we say that I'm a this person, I'm a that person, or if we say I'm a good person and I do what I can, keep that energy. Because as soon as you drop that energy and you revert, then you're probably going to find yourself in a worse place than you are right now. So I'm going to say, there's no key to life. There's no guaranteed fraction, and there's no guaranteed equation to life. You just have to do what you can, and if that doesn't work, then do something else, and if that doesn't work, then maybe the next thing will. But if something doesn't work for you and you get caught up in that, and you're like, why was I not good enough for that? I probably deserve less than that, and I'm probably not going to be good for anything above that, let alone for that thing, and blah blah blah. That is madness, and that is insanity. And when you're replaying this idea of not being enough in your head for just as long as you can remember, and as long as you will remember, then you're manifesting that energy, and you're establishing it into your life. Because you can't kill energy. You just can't. So if you're kind of making that energy, and then you're sending it out into the world, it's gonna come back. So if you change that song, and you kind of turn the page and you look behind you, you stop staring at that wall and you turn around, there's so much more. You just have to know in your heart that it's for you. Because if you're seeing it, and if you're aware of it, and if it's in your head in the first place, just go to it. And if that doesn't work out for you, if happiness doesn't work out for you, then do something else. But I'm telling you right now that if that's what you want, then all you have to do is know that you can do it. Because happiness is a immensely colossal energy. And if you can maintain that every day, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. You're already living the best that you can. You're already doing what you can, and you're already being who you can. And I know that in a material plane, and this is a secret, don't be telling everybody this. In a material plane, they're trying to convince you that when you work hard every day and you have a kid with somebody that you tolerate, and you do this and you tolerate that, and you just keep going through and keep tolerating your job, and you keep tolerating that, you're showing the universe that you're gonna carry this toleration frequency, and you're showing it that you're willing to do whatever you can to tolerate your life. That's survival. So when you kind of flip that script and you tell the universe, okay, I'm not happy, I'll maybe today I'm gonna paint a picture, and I'm gonna sit with myself, and I'm gonna tell myself that I'm worth it, and I'm gonna tell myself I can do this thing. That in itself is such a big step, and it is really hard to even go that far, because it's so hard to hold that frequency. So if you can, maintain that energy, that is work. That is hard work. That is dedication. So forget what all these people are talking about, talking all reckless, saying that you have to, sell your soul, you have to sell yourself, you have to give yourself away to Job Corp. No, you don't have to do anything. And wait, don't get it twisted, because it is really important to also maintain your physical life while your mental expression is kind of catching up. Because if you don't want to maintain that physicality, well, the mentality is, catching up to kind of incorporate with that physicality, then it's just gonna keep running away from you. It's just gonna keep getting further away from you. So as soon as you can sit in that physicality and be like, this kind of sucks, but I'm gonna maintain it because I care about myself, then slowly that mentality will start to creep in, and it will marinate. And that's the best way I can think of wording that. So, that is kind of exactly what I wanted to say. And it's been a really bad day. It's been a really bad day, and I'm having a really hard time. But I'm doing what I can, and I'm still being myself, because nobody can take that away from me. And I'm gonna tell you, even if you're scared that somebody's gonna, try to hurt you, or somebody's gonna try to do this or that because they're jealous of your energy, just know, people can do whatever they want, but they can't have you. You just have to have yourself, right? So if you have yourself and you say no and you make it known, then that is a sacred word. That's a sacred word, and nobody can take that away from you. Because it's so important to kind of, learn how to say no to the wrong people in your life. Because maybe right now you're around people that you don't really trust, or maybe you're around people that, you don't feel like you resonate with, you don't feel like you deserve to be around them. Maybe all you have to learn is how to continuously say no. Because it's one thing to say no the first time, but if you can continue to really not only tell them no, but to convince yourself, like, it's not okay that I have to continuously say no, and it's not okay that I have to continuously pick myself up by myself, then you're just gonna keep going in that same cycle of, accepting and forgiving. And sometimes it's not about forgiving. Sometimes it's genuinely not about forgiving. And, the universe, I'm gonna tell you, the universe is not expecting you to forgive everybody and move on. Because I have my days, right? I have my days where I say, I'm not gonna forget what you did, and I kind of like don't really want to forgive what you did either. Like sometimes I have my days, and sometimes it's really important to be honest. Like, I just don't trust you anymore. Like, you really betrayed that trust, and you continue to do so. And now that you continue to do so, and you don't acknowledge it, I'm not gonna just compensate for you, because that's childish. That's childish of you to expect me to compensate for you, especially if you have a very trying relationship with parental figures. You really have to stand up for yourself. And I think, like, for me, this chapter of my life is about so many things, but I think, like, really standing in my energy and making myself known, and, like, sometimes taking up other people's space is kind of what I'm learning, because, like, I just gave myself, I had to, like, give myself away for so long. I had to give my space away for so long out of fear. And, like, truthfully, these people know that you're protected. And when you start to act on that, when you start to act on that protection and that protective energy, they see that and they know that you know that. So it makes it that much harder for them to manipulate you and sway your opinion and kind of trigger you and do all these things, because they know that you know. So just hold on to that. Keep going. And I know it's hard. I know it. I'm right here with you. I'm right here watching this with you, going through it with you. Sorry about that. Going through it with you, trying with you, and being tried with you. So just know that whether you're on the other side of the world or you're my neighbor, right? You're not alone. You're truly not alone. Because if the universe wanted us to be alone, there would not be this many of us. So, do keep doing your thing. Do keep being yourself. Do keep loving yourself. And try to have the best time that you can up until it is your time. Because if you don't enjoy up to your time, then you're gonna get to your time and you're not even gonna want it, because you didn't have yourself when you were having a bad time, when you were having a hard time, when you were having a bad trip. Like, you didn't have yourself. So now that you're having a good time, you don't even want yourself in a way. I think that's like one of the worst things that could happen to somebody, is when you just like rush into that instant gratification. And I understand, if you've been working on this for years, that's one thing, but sometimes that payoff does take years to really, conceptualize and to understand within yourself. And sometimes that's all the universe is waiting on, is for you to understand that you deserve it.